Hi, everybody. I'm Jess Mokhyber, and I'm here again with Jill Sheehan. We are continuing Jill's series, 27 Years in the Charter School Movement, taking questions from friends and colleagues who she's known along the way. And today we have another set of questions from Dr. Natasha Howard. So, Jill, first, why don't you tell us how you and Natasha met and what your work relationship is, and then we'll jump into her questions.
Wow. So Natasha worked for SUNY. And as you recall, we used to go to the meetings and we were not fan favorites. And we were sitting in like the lobby area at SUNY Optometry, I think was the building. And uh, let me go back. She actually closed the Brighter Choice schools. Do you remember we had to go sit over at SUNY? Were you part of that?
I
It
think
was
that
Kyle, me, Andrea, Joe. Were you there too?
I think that predated me slightly.
Okay. They were going to shut down the Brighter Choice middle schools, and Natasha led those visits. And even within our own organization, there was, do you agree with it? Don't you agree with it going on, the decision? And so it was the first time I saw how she worked. I heard how she responded to parents. I heard how she responded to the school people. On a very funny note, we were there so long that the chair of the committee, the whole committee left. And I think they went to have lunch, but we couldn't leave because we just simply didn't know when they would come back. And I had Tums in my bag, and we were all sitting there. Right at the time, the association was all sitting there. We were eating Tums for lunch. Like I think about what a different life. Um, and so I knew that's how she worked. And then we were at a meeting in New York City, and she came walking in, and she had this fabulous coat on. And I do mean it is a fabulous coat. And so I said, "Oh, I love your coat." And she was talking to me, but I think she thought I was Tina Nilsson Hodges from New Roots because of my gray hair, right? Like I was like, "Oh, wait, does she think I'm Tina?" And I think the answer was yes. I mean, now she tells me no, but I'm positive. She thought I was Tina. So she left SUNY, and shortly after, I think Heather Wendling did an introduction uh, to us. I think, I don't know the first time we met, but we were definitely kindred spirits, had the same sense of humor. And I asked her to go on some school visits with us, which she did. And I've said this before, you meet people in the charter school world, and you like, you don't have to agree with everything, but your alignment is the same because you wonder, like, is this about kids? And with her, I never got the feeling it was about anything less than being about the kids. So we've become friends. Uh, Really nice story. I had to work in the Bronx. This is when my dad was really sick. We had been at a conference in Las Vegas at the end of June. My dad went into the hospital. I had to work in the Bronx August 7th, pre-opening for school. And my dad, we knew he was going to pass. I actually made it to New York City on the 6th, only to get to the hotel and get the phone call that my dad died. And I called her, and without any hesitation, she came to New York and did the school visit for me. And I can't explain to somebody, like, I would have had to go through the visit, and there was never any doubt. Like she was just like, yes, I will be there. She sent me like cupcakes to my room. There was a food delivery. She lives in New Jersey. It wasn't easy for her to get into the middle of the Bronx. So she's ridiculously funny. I was working with a school, not in New York State. And She was a consultant with me at the school and then inevitably became the interim leader to get them through renewal as a favor to me. And that's a favor I can never repay because it was a train wreck of a school. So, kindred spirits, it's about the kids. We can disagree and spar all day long, and there's still just mutual respect. So,
That's,
Tosh
okay.
2.0. And not, on a very funny note, we were at a board meeting once, me, Natasha, and Kristen Joy Greer. And we're in a gymnasium by ourselves because the board went into executive session and left. So I busted out in song because the acoustics are great in a gymnasium. And she turned to us, she goes, wait, you can sing? And I said, yes, but only in gymnasiums when no one else is watching us. So we have like this weird, like we'll get rooms that connect to each other if we're in the same place so that we can barge in and out of each other's lives at the hotel. So yeah, she's become a super good friend. I'm very grateful.
Awesome. Let's jump into her questions.
Mm-mm.
She asks first, when did you realize that this work is a calling rather than just a job?
I have a weird story to tell you, a conversation Andrea and I just had. Um, I knew once I started at SUNY, it was a calling in the sense that more kids could be served better in other schools. And then when I saw the bureaucracy there and I went to be an advocate, the calling changed, which is here's why you should care about the health of the movement as a whole. And then obviously launching Empire, it's much deeper, which is are you really helping kids? And so I would say, I guess I didn't realize it wasn't a job, just a job for a really long time until somebody, it's like, you feel so passionately about this and you get up and you do it every day and you don't stop fighting. So I would say it's probably always a calling. I probably only recognized it when I decided to leave SUNY and realized that our work could really, really matter. Today, Andrea and I had a conversation and I'm just feeling a certain way about the movement. You see what we write, you and I talk, like I'm definitely going through something. And I actually said, it feels more like a job now for me because what is the point of doing this work when shitty schools get renewed and there is no value in changing your work? Like there are schools that don't have good outcomes and they've hired people and they're trying to turn around their school. But for the ones who are not, like, why are we beating our heads against a wall trying to tell you what to look for if there's really, you have no skin in the game? And so lately I'm like, is it still a calling? Like, am I still willing to have a fight? And you and I both know I'm always willing to have a fight, just I'm contrary by nature. But we can't want something more than other people.
Yep.
And I think that's where I am. But I think it was always a calling. I think at SUNY, when I saw the first schools open and the kids we were serving, I'm like, yes, this, more of this, please. So maybe it's always, maybe even from a little kid wondering why there wasn't better.
Okay, that's great. I'm sorry about right now, though.
That's all right. By the way, Joe, you don't have to cut any of this out. I apologize for my hair. I went running this morning and I put it in a ponytail. So it's flat but yet big, if that makes sense. Sorry.
I think
Anybody watching this, I apologize.
I think anyone who knows that you're running every morning is just very impressed.
Today I had a 75-year-old man with me, so less running and more limping. His limping, not mine. Okay.
I think it's amazing. All right, Natasha's second question. After 27 years, you've seen and done just about everything in the charter sector. What gives you hope for the future of the movement?
You know when you have those rare glimmers of light, like somebody, like you realize something you said is effective and somebody can understand it. I'm sorry, repeat the question because I want to make sure I actually, like, there's a lot. Go ahead, repeat it.
After 27 years, you've seen and done just about everything in the charter sector. What gives you hope for the future of the movement?
That there are now people willing to take critical feedback and say, great, how do I get there? And I know I said this. The glimmers are getting further and further away, right? Like, why can't people just do the right thing because it's the right thing? Why do people have to be forced into conversations? Why can't people see how they're hurting kids? So the glimmers of hope have become like smaller and smaller for me. But then again, I was just telling Andrea this morning. I had a conversation with somebody a few weeks ago, and the person got really quiet on the phone. And she's like, I'm guilty of that. And I was like, I know. That's why I'm telling you. From a third party perspective, here's how it looked. And it wasn't offensive to her. It was direct. Direct is kind. Direct is generous. Uh, and so the glimmers are watching people, one, still wanting to start schools amongst all this bureaucracy. And two, when schools are genuinely struggling, it appears that most of them are more receptive to the harder conversations. And but they're really small. They're becoming fewer and fewer. I don't even like saying that loud, but like,
As honest.
here's what doesn't give me hope. That might be easier. I wrote that thing about the SUNY meeting. Why does any Regent school care that SUNY needs money for their operations? By the way, that's not the whole pool of SUNY money. They also get Research Foundation money, and there's also another line item for them. Why won't schools call SUNY and say, take away the lifetime cap of money? All schools have facility issues. Even if we're in shared buildings, we need to upgrade our facilities. Like, why are people afraid to pick up the phone and call? And I think it's problematic. I think it's problematic, which is why it's harder and harder to see all of the good things, because I'm seeing the things that they could actually make a difference on, but they don't want there to be repercussions. And we shouldn't talk about authorizing and repercussions in the same sentence.
Okay.
So the glimmers are small. Sorry, Tosh.
Okay, her last question. What do you hope your legacy will be?
I don't think people like me get a legacy. Um, right? There's no awards. There's nothing for people like me who just say and do whatever they want. But we can also agree that I don't say and do whatever I want. Can you agree right now while we are on camera, Jess, that I will send something and Andrea adds all the fatal blows? Can we agree
That
that
is,
I will send something and Andrea's it up?
it is true. And it's always like so funny. So funny.
But then people read it and they're like, I don't think I have a legacy. I don't think people will even notice when I'm gone. And uh, maybe that's not the worst thing to be. When we make jokes of people don't even know what we do behind the scenes. People have absolutely no idea what we do.
Because there's not
And,
a lot of people or groups that do a lot of things and then don't publicize it. But sometimes it's more effective if you don't.
and then I don't know. Like sometimes when I go to a conference and I see them giving out awards to people, and I'm like, oh, this person wrote a book about the national movement and I disagreed with everything in it. Or this person has a program they're selling to boards, except for that program's only as good as the board. Let's start with board training. Like my legacy, you know what? My legacy is, maybe it should be, she was super difficult because she wanted more. for kids and families.
I
Maybe
like that.
that's going to be, what will my legacy be,
I
Jeff?
think it's that. I think that legacy doesn't mean like an award or a necessary accolade, but I think it means like what,
Will
like,
people remember me for?
yeah, maybe like it's
Being
school.
bitchy?
Maybe
Who's
it's schools
bitchy?
that like continue to stay open because of your behind the scenes guidance, and then there are children who were served because of it. And honestly, conversely, maybe there are schools that you helped get like closed, and parents and children went on to find something that was more effective. So I don't think there actually is a way to quantify what your work will be in a legacy scenario, because how do you really quantify that? Schools that have
Um,
stayed open, schools that have maybe shut their doors, schools that have neither, like just gotten better because you've come in and done like a really good training or making them think differently about their programming and their governance, and then they improve and they're able to be sustained.
I think there's a lot of people who celebrate when I leave the movement, and they're going to be just sadly disappointed to know right now I will outlast all of you in this movement. So just take heed. And the older I get, the less of a filter I have. I think when we just talk about all the schools that I have worked with over the course of 27 years, been to the schools, and you think of the number of kids they have served and really things we have put in place, not just in New York, by the way, right? So we have Connecticut, we have New Jersey, right? We got
This,
schools in South Carolina. So Texas, we wait, the people don't know the number of schools we have worked with, therefore the number of students we have touched.
I know that's why I think it's really hard to quantify.
And because of that, my legacy will be whatever it is that they think of me, right? Like she was very, very, very difficult. She was mean. She was bitchy. All of those things. Take them all in. That's my legacy. I will get a shirt that says that. I think I think nobody that you and I know or work with is in this for the reputation they get and public notoriety. And I think we come at it from a very different way than a lot of people who are the look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. I've got books. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do TikTok videos. I'm gonna do YouTube videos. And they have a very different context than we do of we're going to shove this up the authorizer's ass or down their throat, pick. We don't care which one
Either
you
one.
pick. Uh, I think for the people I've worked with and I've been very close to, they will have a different, what my legacy will be. Jess, what's going to be my legacy? You tell me. You've
I
known
think
me.
it's
Oh my
this.
God, you've known me so long.
I know.
You
I
knew
think
me when I was a brunette, a fake one, but a brunette nonetheless.
it's. I'll have known you for 12 years in April, and I think it's the like unbelievable number of students who have been served by your work, and I just don't even know how you would even calculate it. Because like you said, a lot of us are not in it for like the flashy recognition, but more the like quiet behind the scenes impactful and sustained work.
Do you know how I know I make a difference or I've touched somebody in a way that affected them in a positive? Every holiday, every holiday, I get easily 20 text, emails, phone messages from people I've worked with leaving messages of love. Right? It's Christmas. I'm thinking of you. Thank you for everything you did for me. You've been such a good friend. Every single holiday. I have an angel collection. It's like this wooden, it's not an intentional collection, so don't send me one. Um, I helped a school leader a at her most trying time. And she made it through. One day I get a box and it's this angel. And there, like she wrote this beautiful, beautiful card with it. And then I would say like 2 months later, an entirely different school, an entirely different state, their school leader sent me an angel similar to it. And then I got a third one, and I'm thinking, I'm lucky these are not catching fire in my hands, like I'm holding it. And it's those moments that you realize they don't have to recognize me publicly. I don't have to make it public, but to understand that I moved them in a way they felt the need to do something for me. Please send chocolate next time. I like angels, but chocolate works. I For the people that I have worked with, for the people who send me messages of love all the time. Maybe my legacy goes with how I am. It's going to be behind the scenes. There's going to be a group of you, maybe at a retirement party or my wake pick. Might be the same exact thing. Might be on the same exact time. That like the legacy will be she was there. She might have yelled at me. She might have cussed me out, but she was there at all the bad moments. And that's not a bad legacy to have because I just don't want to be there for the good moments.
And just to reiterate, you're talking about your legacy, but you're not ready to retire.
No, I'm not retiring. I'm going to see every asshole I dislike retired. Joe, leave this in before I retire. And let me explain some stuff to you. I'm done. Like, if we're not going to do right by kids and everyone else is afraid of you, I am not afraid of you. I'm 61 years old. What are you going to do to me? We own the company. Oh, okay. Like, I don't get it. So, yeah, I'm not retiring at all.
I love
But
it.
good luck with coming up with my legacy. Though I am think I'm going to start asking people, like when I leave the movement, what will my legacy be?
I like
And
I like how you said your she was mean to us. That should go on your like
it's
I
going to
don't
go on
know.
my tombstone. She was mean to us, but for all the right reasons in little letters.
She was mean to us.
And I don't think people understand what it's like to just say to somebody, this isn't working. Like, you got to go. Like, you need to bring somebody in who can actually do this job. What do you think that's an easy conversation to have with somebody?
Right. And I know we're veering off topic a bit, but a lot of people don't actually truly want to hire a consultant to give them the tough information, but there's no value in having a consultant who tells you only what you want to hear. None.
And And get this, if you're hired as a consultant, you're there to do a certain project, but if you find other issues, it's your obligation to say, not trying to upsell you, don't even want part of this. You don't have a curriculum, right?
Yeah.
Like this is an easier conversation. So I think that Natasha and I, there are a lot of things we can agree on and then not agree on. Uh, and we put it in perspective. Like she shut down the bird of choice schools, or SUNY did. And she said, and I said, but most schools did get a 5-year renewal in their first term. And she said, you weren't in the school, you didn't see how bad it was. And if you remember, I was okay with them shutting down the middle schools in Albany. Oh, you don't remember, you weren't there. But like Andrea was mad. She was part of that. Like she said they should get more time. Sometimes more time isn't what a school needs. Like the recognition of you have to make changes. And so I can say to Natasha, here's why I disagree with you. A long time ago, I let Natasha interview me and we were like battling about is SUNY effective or not. And I came at it from a very different standpoint, as you can imagine. So I'm lucky to have met her with her fabulous coat that she wore, and it was fabulous even though she absolutely thought I was somebody else. Like she absolutely did. Um, but she is very, very, very direct and makes me seem super nice.
Love
That's
it.
probably why I want to work with her more. Like, you speak to them, Tasha. You tell them what you saw first.
Well, thank you to Natasha for the questions. We appreciate it.
Thank you.